A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him. She had a sister named Mary who sat beside the Lord at his feet listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." Dear sisters and brothers, the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
As said earlier, I just flew in. I ran away from the city as used to be my practice. I would not celebrate my beautiful birthday with anybody. I violated once, and I was forced to violate again this week. When I turned 50, my two little sisters told me, "It is not good that you always be alone on your birthday. Your life does not belong to you alone. And your life belongs to us. And we booked already a hotel, and we will be going to Bacolod. You are our driver." Actually, they wanted to visit Bacolod. It was not for my birthday. They want to visit all these beautiful places in Bacolod and making me driver on my birthday. So, but I did not complain. I said, okay, since my life not only belongs to me, but to my little sisters and my mama and dad, so be it. I requested the provincial to give me my retreat allowance last Friday. And I flew to Manila last Saturday, thinking that I could hide myself in two places. You know, this year's birthday was quite ambitious. I thought of hiding at least 2 days in Hemadi at the Pink Sisters and another 2 days in our garden in Tagaytay. You may check later in your Google engine there, SVD farm in Tagaytay. It's really beautiful. There is an eco-spirituality retreat center there. And I thought of hiding myself at least 2 days there while celebrating the Mass at the Pink Sisters. Lo and behold, sometime 2 weeks ago, Mama and Dad sent already a vehicle to Manila. When I arrived home and my sister gave me the key, so here is your car so that you can go to Pink Sisters today. It was Saturday. But tomorrow, we will be joining you in Pink Sisters. You cannot stay at the Pink Sisters. So you have to share your life with us again. I celebrated the Mass Sunday at the Pink Sisters. And then I celebrated the Mass on my birthday. And then in the presence of my mama and dad and my two little sisters, only the 5 of us. And then I drove on Wednesday to Tagaytay, and then I could not really rest. So they canceled my booking in Eco-Spirituality SVD Farm, and then we stayed in a hotel instead. So they ruined all my plans. And early today, my little sister asked, "Kuya, Mama and Dad were very happy because you gave up your birthday for us. What was your birthday wish?" I said, "You did not prepare cake for me. You did not prepare candles, and then you asked me to make a wish. There is no wish without candles And there is no wish without birthday cake. And none of you gave me cake. So not even a special treat on my birthday. And I was made driver again, I said. So what kind of wish? And then Mama heard me talking, and then she came out. And then she said, yeah, it was my wish to hear your wish on your birthday on July 12th. So I told my mother, I said, as always, from the moment I decided to be a priest and I remembered my mother, the only wisdom I learned from my mother was never celebrated my birthday with anybody, because that should be a very special day for me to be alone, reflecting where God's footprints in my year passed, in order for me to navigate again God's footprints and presence in the year to come. My mother was like a philosopher, perhaps. Life without reflection is an empty life. And so to my mother, early today, I said, my wish as your son who is a priest, always, that through my priestly life, other people can see and experience love and God, so that I will not be a scandal and burden or a sin to people for whom I was ordained. And that's my special prayer always on my birthday. And that wish I had has something to do with the second reading you heard earlier. What is beautiful in pain? What is beautiful in persecution? What is beautiful in torture? Nobody wishes to love when you are tortured. The automatic and the natural reaction will always be tears flowed and drop of blood from whichever part of your body being tortured. Yet, Paul rejoices because the mystery of God's love, which was hidden in time memorial for many centuries, was finally revealed in a person named Jesus. And he was so privileged being caught unprepared on the road to Emmaus when he was a persecutor himself and called to be an instrument of light, love, God, and good news to the Gentiles. And so Paul was so happy declaring his faith. I would be very happy that whatever pain, the lacking pains in the painful memory of Jesus in Golgotha, I would be more than willing to embrace it so that the Gentiles may hear the word of God. For us as a community, I suppose this is very important message. Because the sacrifices that you as members of the community endured, moments like this, weekends, Sabado ng gabi, dapat you have to enjoy your weekend having worked so hard from Monday to Friday. You should, but you chose to come here and you will continue choosing to be here. And you endure all the sacrifices, inviting people, bringing people to your gigs or to youth revival, just like the 32 disciples of mine from the garbage dump last Sunday, you brought them all here. Why? Perhaps you were with Paul saying, hopefully, a little sacrifice that I rendered every single moment in my life must be a way that Jesus is witnessed, loved, and proclaimed through our life as Sacred Heart charismatic community. And that's not my wish. That's the promise we found in Jesus. The second reading. And I'm used to dealing with barren couples. My first funny experience of helping a barren couple or childless couple was having been trained by Dr. Billings himself. I don't know if you are familiar with the name. This is the mucus method of Dr. Billings for natural birth control. He came all the way from Australia and trained us because we in Indonesia, Catholic Christian churches were not in favor of artificial birth control, and so we lobbied in the Senate, lower house and upper house, and we were challenged by Suharto's regime. Prove to us, the government, that the Catholics will not be growing like rats, giving birth every single night. So all priests were trained, and including seminarians. And I was quite privileged because I understood English and I could speak English then, so I was trained by Dr. Billings himself. In order to practice what I learned, I went home over Christmas and talked to my auntie who had been married 22 years but without a child. So I called her first. I said, do you still have this? Ay, walang hiya ka. Bakit nagtanong kang ganyan? Sabi ko, just answer me. What? You're supposed to be a priest. You are not a doctor. Why you are asking me if I still have that one? I was asking if she still have period. And then she said, oh, meron pa. Bakit? I said, I can help you. I can help you. Said, what kind of help? I said, I can talk to uncle, but you have to rest. And uncle has to rest. I knew that they were already seeing doctors, and I heard many words from the doctors. So I told them, and lo and behold, after 3 months, I was already in the seminary. I received a letter. Wow, you are like God. I said, what? What happened? I'm 3 months pregnant. Huh? I said, 3 months pregnant. I said, what happened? You made it. I said, oh yeah, I did not made it. I did not do it. You must have done it rightly. In right timing, I said. And then so my auntie, out of curiosity, came to the seminary and said, how did you learn things like that? I said, oh, we were trained by Dr. Billings, the great Billings, I said. Mucus method. And I gave her the calendar, but that was the last. They could not have the second child. And how sweet it was because the name is Mary Grace. And I remember that one because of Abraham in the first reading. Having in pain, lonely married life, traveling, faithful to God, and spending all the moments in intimacy with God but without a child. And his days were numbered. And of course, he was thinking, mag-shortcut na lang ako. As used to be practiced anthropologically, in order for your lineage to be continued, you have to have a concubine. And you have the story of Hagar. Yet, the sweetest part of God's good news is not in the beginning. The sweetest part of the good news is at the end. Just like the sweetest part of the new good news in Jesus' life was not completely told us in his birth, but at the end, on his resurrection. And I interpreted the presence of that visitor as God visiting Abraham. Perhaps God felt how torturous his feeling was and how hopeless he has become. Oh, his days are numbered. Kung araw pa yon, malapit ng lulubog at mamatay na, madilim. Hindi na niyang alam kung asaan siyang padulong tungod kay sa kangit-ngit sa iyahang kinabuhi. And all of a sudden, God visit in a very surprised manner under a terebinth tree and say, by this time next year, Sarai shall be with child. There are promises the Lord give in our lives when we can only accept it with the eye of faith. Do not ever forget that one. In the lonely and painful moments of life, remember, faith can change darkness into light, death into resurrection, and even barren into sons and daughters like stars in the sky and sun along the seashores. It is an impossible message for humanity, but everything is possible with the Lord, but particularly those who stand firm like Abraham, walking humbly in faith before God. The first reading. And I mentioned something earlier, Evangelium Gaudium, the joy of the gospel. A short encyclical letter written by Pope Francis challenging you and me, renewal communities or individuals, or the secularistic world, which is so busy working and working, running and running, so noisy, but forget one necessary thing. I locked my room the whole week for the first time ever. And when I arrived about 5 something in the garage, the security guard immediately called my attention. Saan mong tinatago yung... Because I came from Manila, he immediately bombarded with Tagalog statement. Saan mong tinatago yung susi mo? Sabi ko, bakit? Gusto mong magnanakaw? No! The only room which is not yet installed for all the sprinklers inside the room for fire fire prevention. Here's your room. And we were looking for, I said, you should supposed to have my the duplicate of my. No, you took it. I said, no. And then I noticed that you put it at the corner of the box when I borrowed it. Kaya tiguan ko, nabili na akong yawe sa sulod. So naghuha akong yawe, gikuha niya, and yable, gikuha na akong yawe, ibalik ang duplicate. I remember, he puts it in the corner of the box. I said, kindly take a look at the corner of the box. You put it there. But what? It was there. It was there still. I said, see, my memory is still good. So, and then, but you never lock your rooms. I said, so you have been entering my rooms many times? Yeah. I said, that's good. Good confession. Good confession that you entered my room without me knowing it. What did you see in my room? Father, your room is chaotic. I said, don't say that. That's secret. But you have a small altar at the corner. I said, and then you have also a small chair like for a little kid. What is that for? And what is on top of the altar? It is like a chapel, and there is a Blessed Sacrament there. Behind Blessed Sacrament, there is a statue of Mama Mary, and your Mama Mary is strange. Because my Mama Mary is Our Lady of the Poor, no, not the Fatima or Lourdes that regularly seen in all the grottos. And your Mama Mary is strange. I said, yeah, because she is poor. And she really looks poor. And I said, what is that for? And then I told him, that question was asked by my mother once. My room was chaotic, and then so she started cleaning it up. And she was crying because I have a consecrated monstrance there, a host there in a small monstrance. And then behind it, I have the cross and Mama Mary standing. And then when I entered the room, my mother was kneeling down there. I said, oh my God, what are you doing there? worshiping. I said, worshiping. This is my room. But what is this thing for you? And then so I told her, I said, you asked me once, can I really be a priest forever? Or will I die as a priest? And I told you, I don't know if I can die as a priest, but every single day I will pray that when I go to sleep, I will sleep as a priest. And when I wake up the next day, I will wake up as a priest. And the whole day I will live my life as a priest. So that was the reason why nobody can disturb me on this particular hour, because I have to be in communion with my Lord. Not bragging practices, but that's the message of Jesus in the gospel earlier. Oh, it's nice to prepare cake. You promise a cake. I have to blow my candle after. Did you make it or you buy it? You travel here and there, it's nice, but you should pray for me 1 hour today. Did you do it? Kasalanan yan. Because the most important thing in life is sitting at the feet of the Lord. It is there we find wisdom. It is there we find intimacy. It is there we find solace for our weary souls. It is there we will find strength when we are weak. It is there in that communion we find love. And it is there, kahit wala na akong buhok, it is there we will find all the necessary energy to proclaim that God shall never abandon and shall never leave us orphan. And then Jesus said, Martha, Martha, you are busy doing unnecessary things in life. There is only one thing is necessary. Sitting at the feet of the Lord, listen to the whisper of the Lord, so that when we go out as a renewed person. That's the very reason why I always say that our prayer should not end here. And we should not get tired coming to burning bush, because we are rekindling our candles here. We are rekindling our souls here. We are rekindling our spirit here, so that when we go out, we are bringing light needed by the world, particularly in these trying times and this time around. Our founder, St. Honor Johnson, founded the Pink Sisters, and the primary task of the Pink Sisters is from sunrise to sunset, praying for us missionary priests, so that we will be coming good and faithful priests. And before I left home, about 11 today, because my flight's supposed to be 1 o'clock, I told my mother, I said, Inay, may utang ka. I said, ano na naman yun? You have not prayed for me today. I did not hear it. You have to pray for me as I stand under the feet of the Lord every single day. That's the challenge of this Sunday, to be at the feet of the Lord, so that we would be a good member of Sacred Heart Charismatic Community, whose heart is Christ-like.